Your top story: mourners have converged at the International Convention Centre in Cape Town for the funeral service of the late UCT's Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Bongani Mayosi. The 51-year-old Cape Town-based cardiologist committed suicide last week after a long struggle with depression. Let's go live to that funeral proceeding.
He attended his primary school in a village called Ngulu at Ngamakwe in the Eastern Cape, and completed his secondary schooling, including matric at St. John's College in Umtata, passing 6 subjects with distinction at the tender age of 15. His first degree was a B.Med Sci, completed in 1986, and concurrently he obtained an MBCHB in 1989, both at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, both cum laude. Thereafter, he worked as an intern at Livingston Hospital in Port Elizabeth and trained as a registrar in medicine at Grooterschuur Hospital and the University of Cape Town. Within 3 years, he was admitted to the fellowship of the College of Physicians of South Africa. He was then awarded the Oxford Nuffield Medical Scholarship and spent 3 years in the United Kingdom, culminating in a doctorate at the University of Oxford in 2003. He was appointed head of the Department of Medicine at UCT in 2006. 10 years later, he became the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences and was in this position until his untimely death on Friday, the 27th, July 2018. His professional achievements and accolades are too many to mention, but include a Silver Order of Mapubungwe in 2009 and an A rating by the National Research Foundation. He was a member of the Academy of Science of South Africa and a former president of the College of Physicians of South Africa. In 2017, he was elected to the US National Academy of Medicine, arguably one of the highest honors in the fields of health and medicine, which recognizes individuals who have demonstrated outstanding professional achievement and commitment to service. Not only did he publish over 300 peer-reviewed academic articles, but he was also instrumental in securing dedicated funding for clinicians from organizations such as Netcare, for the Hamilton Nati Scholarship and the Discovery Academic Fellowships. This culminated in the 1,000 PhDs in 10 years project, also called the National Health Scholars Program, which is in collaboration with the Department of Health, the National Health Research Committee, the Public Health Enhancement Fund, and the South African Medical Research Council.
He was a loving husband, adoring father, dedicated son, clinician par excellence, educator and mentor to generations of students and doctors. In addition, he was a committed Christian who practiced a 7 leadership style. Bongani was a humble man. He is survived by his wife, Nonhlanhla, 3 daughters, Nosipho, Svuyile, Amako, and countless daughters raised in his home. He also left behind his mother, Umama Duna, eldest brother, Ubutsipho, and 3 sisters, Kutala, Ngomisa, and Nosipho. He will be dearly missed by his family, friends, and colleagues. May his soul rest in peace. Go well, our beacon of hope, our academic icon. Khatebe, Bongani, Mashwabada, Ngelengele, Timkhulu, Ndlebentle, Zombi.
Please be seated. We're going to do hymn number 118. It is on your booklets. Please follow the worship team as we sing that hymn.
Tiko aku nangaleko, Tiko aku nanribeko, ukho endaweni zonke, ukho ngamaxesha onke. Phaya ezikwenkwezini ukho wena ezulwini, wabukade selukhona xa zingekabikho zona, zota zigqibeke zonke, kuthi tshabalala konke, ube wena usahleli, ube wena ungapheli, zota zigqibeke zonke, kuthi tshabalala konke, ube wena usahleli, ube wena ungapheli.
Amen. Ndavuya bakuthi kum masiye endlwini kaYehova. Nokuba ndihamba emfuleni wethunzi lokufa, andiyikoyika kubi, ngokuba unam wena. Intonga yakho, umsimelelo wakho uyandithuthuzela. Ndilungisela isithebe phambi kwababandezeli bam. Uyithambisa ngeoli intloko yam, indebe yam iyaphalala. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because you, O Lord, are with me. We are going to ask the Archbishop, Utatu Njongonkulu Ndungane Ukambu, to come and give us the word from the Word of God. And we will sing that last verse that is Zota zigqibeke zonke, as Utata Ukambu comes to the fore. Zota zigqibeke zonke,
kuthi tshabalala konke, ube wena usahleli, ube wena ungapheli.
Dear friends, we are gathered here today at a special moment in the life of the Mayosi family that will forever be a part of their collective memory. It is also a moment that will be memorable in the life of the Faculty of Medicine, academia, and students of the University of Cape Town, both in South Africa and in our global village. It is an occasion for us to pause and reflect about life in general and about one life in particular. For we come together to both mourn and celebrate the life of Professor Bongani Mayosi, one of the greatest sons of the soil of Africa, who has left us in the springtime of his life. As a community here and far afield, we wrap our arms of love, warmth, and caring around Bongani's family, his wife, Nonhlanhla, his daughters, Nosipho, Vuyile, and Tsamagu, and his wider family. We share your immense grief. We respect you, his family, for your courage and fortitude at this time as you have come to grips with and still grieve the death of your beloved Bongani. We will continue to mourn for Bongani, but we will do so in the everlasting words of Paul that are found in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 13 to 18. I know you know your scriptures, but let me just remind you what those verses say. We want you to be quite certain, brothers and sisters, about those who have fallen asleep, to make sure that you do not grieve for them as others do who have no hope. We believe that Jesus died and rose again, and that in the same way, God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep in Jesus. We can tell you this from the Lord's own teaching, that we who are still alive for the Lord's coming will not have any advantage over those who have fallen asleep. At the signal given by the voice of the archangel, and the trumpet of God, the Lord himself will come down from heaven. Those who have died in Christ will be the first to rise. And only after that shall we who remain alive be taken up in the clouds, together with them to meet the Lord in the air. This is the way we shall be with the Lord forever. With such thoughts as these, then you should encourage one another. Those are the words from Paul. These words are most relevant today, for they tell us not just of the past, but hold out a vision of the future. This vision for us to love and honor the memory of Bongani with sincerity must be one great hope and of extended knowledge, a vision of Christ's legacy when humankind is able to search for and discover new things, groundbreaking truths that will serve humankind forever and forever. Such was the person we celebrate today. Bongani displayed every quality I can imagine that bring to life the African concept of Ubuntu. I am because we are. I am because you are. He was a man who had wonderful gifts of grace, imagination, inquisitiveness, and vision. Through all of these, he was able, nevertheless, to point a way to the future, both in the concern for the social concern of humankind on the one hand, and its medical needs on the other. Bongani understood that we could not have life in all its fullness in an unequal society. That is why he cared. He loved his beautiful family. He cared for his colleagues and his students. His compassion extended to the countless numbers of people living in the developing world who suffer from the discrimination in societies and inequality brought about when powerful leaders use their might to subjugate people. He worked for many years to improve the health of people and therefore their living conditions in developing countries. It was not surprising, therefore, that he was the only African elected last year to the prestigious National Academy of Medicine in the USA. In the field of medicine, his work was without peer. His passion for research was apocryphal. His intellect was sharp. But his common touch was there for all to see. It is no surprise, therefore, to know that he was highly active in the Hamilton Naki Scholarship, a program actively seeking to identify and turn out men and women who have the gifts of Bongani. I remember with fondness his wise words about his involvement, saying to me, "Mfundisi, if we are to have Nobel laureates in medicine, then we have to have the best." He sought the best in the medical field and encouraged them to do further research in their special areas of interest. But family was important, his own and the wider family of the community, the society which is our world. Bongani was a man inspired by his father, who was also a doctor, to help others. That common touch drove a brain that could think courageous creativity and with precision. That is why Mayosi continued to interrogate the paradox that many people who lived seemingly unhealthy lifestyles, such as smoking, drinking, and having no exercise, didn't have heart attacks, whereas others who were fit sportsmen and women did. His research for the reason for this apparent anomaly was typical of the man, going to the basics of who we are, investigating our genes. It was a search that led him to discover the gene that causes heart failure, the greatest medical development, it is said, since the first heart transplant. What an outstanding person, a creator with visionary positive attributes, combining his scientific prowess with his empathy for people in need, socially, economically, and medically. Thus, we must take a deep breath and reflect on his wisdom, insight, and intelligence, and on his visionary nature. We must do so because it is a travesty that only now, when we have lost our brother, do we truly begin to speak with full voice about what this man brought to the world: the gifts of love, gentleness, wisdom, and truth. The world does not always sit comfortable with these attributes. To some, the gifts of love and gentleness, wisdom and truth appear weak. The world so often rather embraces hatred, violence, and roughness in speech and harsh actions. As you remember Bongani, we are therefore compelled to think of his vision that led him to love his family, who supported and inspired him throughout his life with them and encouraged him in his work. Our reflection on how we absorb these gifts he gave us as citizens of both South Africa and the world is critical. And dear friends, we need to allow the ears of our hearts and the eyes of our souls to transform the agents of brokenness and our wounded lives into angels of healing. Professor Bongani Mayosi, the man for all people, would want that, for he would be searching for new ways forward, new discoveries and truths. He would be a gentle but a clear and insightful way. With his ever alert and inquiring mind at work, he would be looking at how we deal with some of the things that hurt us as a society, at how that hurt and pain leads to the wounds and sorrows we now bear. Professor Mayosi understood the intricacies of those sensitive parts of our bodies that gave us life. He tended them with care. He looked with diligence for what made them work. His gentle touch brought healing and hope. The hurtfulness of careless, ugly, pejorative language and actions that our society is all too fond of engaging in would have been anathema to him. Therefore, as people who believe that our Creator lives in each one of us, I have no doubt that what our much-loved professor would have us remember about his life is to be caring, gentle in our language and actions, and look always for the good in each one of us. Again, Paul speaks of this in Romans 8. He says, "So then, we have no obligation to human nature to be dominated by it. If you do live in that way, you are doomed to die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the habits originating in the body, you will have life. All who are guided by the Spirit of God are sons and daughters of God. For what you received was not the spirit of slavery to bring you back into fear. You received the spirit of adoption, enabling us to cry out, Abba, Father. The Spirit Himself joins with our spirit to bear witness that we are children of God. This, dear friends, is the challenge. Don't let the negative things in the heat of the moment govern us. Don't allow our human nature to overcome our good intent. Work to have free minds, open to the possibilities of the sort of truths that Bongani has left as his legacy. We speak so glibly of legacy. As individuals, we treasure the idea that our legacy will live on, perhaps in our
Mourners have converged this morning at the International Convention Centre in Cape Town for the funeral service of the late UCT Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Bongani Mayosi. Earlier, we heard from loved ones about the professor's career, where he started out his career, and took us through also a list of his various achievements. This funeral will continue this morning, but stay tuned to Afro World View for further discussions and details here.